That's better. This week has been all about preparation for Saturday, and it's all about Barston. Well, just a bit of an apology to a lot of people that don't know Barston. It might seem a venue that I bang on about quite regularly, so I do apologise to the people that don't know Barston. I can only really report on the matches that I fish, and that is one of the venues that's very close to my heart. I only fish there about 8 or 10 times a year, and that really is leading up to the Barston Masters final. All the matches leading up to that are actually qualifiers. The final is this weekend. It's on Saturday. Really looking forward to it. It's £2,017 to the winner, I do believe. Altogether, I think there's about £5,000 to be paid out. £100 for each section. Really looking forward to it. It's gone cold this week. A lot of things are probably potentially going to change this week. A lot of the carp, will probably slow down in the way that they're feeding. Skimmers could come into it, depending on where you draw. And that's it. I mean, I won my section there last year. I drew an area that can be a little bit iffy, a bit of a low weight section at this time of year, in the 40s, the early 40s. I won my section there with 19 skimmers for £21, so they weren't big fish, but £100 a section. If you don't draw an area that's where you've had a chance of winning the £2,000 prize to win the match, then obviously £100 for the section is a nice little incentive to get your head down and just kind of catch whatever you can, even if it's only going to mean £20 or £25. So yeah, really looking forward to it. Don't know what it's going to entail. Obviously now it's gone cold, things are going to change. It could involve some of these which get used there quite a bit through the early time of the year, and later on in the year it could be tea bagging or PVA bag. Obviously with a little bit of glug, you never know. A lot of people believe in glugs on that venue. We could be just going down a method route, method and boilie. Again, that's probably the most consistent method throughout the year, certainly for winning matches at Barston. Or it could be the old faithful cage feeder approach. Now, the chances of winning the match on a cage feeder approach is very, very slim, I will be honest with you. But that approach can sometimes get you 40 or 50% of your actual weight, obviously to go with some carp as well. So the great thing with Barston is, depends where you draw. There are so many different methods that could come into play, so really looking forward to it. Well, last weekend I haven't got any live match footage for you. That's simply because I took 2 days out, Saturday and Sunday, to kind of go off the radar and put a little bit of time in at Holcroft. Holcroft is a venue that a lot of you will already know. It's going to be basically a bit of a home for me for this winter, for the pairs event, for the Feeder Masters pairs event. I'm fishing that with Richard Vaughan, who a lot of you already know. It's a weight competition over 6 rounds. Really looking forward to that as well. It's been great. I've never fished an open match at Holcroft before, and that's why I went there on Saturday and Sunday, just to kind of get a feel for the depths and a feel for the stamp of fish that we're going to be targeting. It's feeder only, as you'd expect. So that's coming up. So that's where I spent last weekend. So with that in mind, like I say, I haven't got any live match footage for you this week, but what I have got, I can tell you about, is a cracking video that Craig Butterfield and Les Thompson at Matrix put together. It's just gone on live this week. I'll put the link below for you. This is the trailer for it. Welcome to another episode of The Practice.
it's like probably being in Spearmint Rhino with only your taxi fare, and you know you ain't going to get any action, but the view's fantastic.
Patsall Park is somewhere that I only fished for the first time a few weeks ago in one of the Feeder Masters qualifiers. A lot of you really liked the video for that, and thank you for the nice comments on that. So that venue is actually, you know, the host venue for that video. That's kind of based on the way that Les approaches practice sessions for big events. Fantastically been put together so well. For, you know, Craig, everything he does like that is of such a high quality, and obviously the information and the knowledge and the skills that Les passes on is just, it's second to none. It's brilliant. So I strongly recommend you check that out, but the link's below for you. So that's your taster of some match fishing videos. Other than that, it's been a bit of a social week. I've spent a bit of time with friends this week, but I've also took a step back to kind of just look at the media side of stuff, the way that I put these videos together. I keep getting asked how I managed to find time to put these videos together, and in all fairness, obviously it does take a little bit of time, but it's not taking any time away from my prep and stuff, which is obviously key to me, and that's where my values are, and being prepared for these matches that I fish. And obviously when you start doing things more and more, I've just done my 135th video, which I've filmed and produced myself, and obviously when you're doing things in that sort of volume that frequently, you get quicker at it, and you know, the systems and procedures I'm using now have never been quicker. So I mean, that's brilliant. I've been looking at the stuff that I've been using, the equipment. I'm still using the MacBook Pro. A lot of the questions I've been asked 4 times, I think it is, this week about what kind of equipment I'm using. So I'm just telling you this now because a lot of people are interested in doing their own videos, and I've obviously learned how to do what I do from other people, so it's only fair that I should pass that on. The main bit of kit I'm still using is GoPro. This is the Session. It's a fantastic bit of kit. It's waterproof down to 10 meters. I've covered all this before, but there's a lot of new subscribers who've jumped on board, so that is basically it. As you can see, I mean, look, that can take photographs, it films, it's fully waterproof, so it's off your mind, and you can even have a little remote control that's only about that big that will connect to this through Wi-Fi, which means that you can switch it on, position this wherever you want, and all you do is, when you're playing a fish or whatever you want to do, you can just go with the remote control. In fact, I'll show it you. There we go. It's got a little bit of ground bait on it. That's all it is. And that will connect to that or any other GoPro, so you can just, and that's waterproof as well, so you can just switch it on as and when, so you can only film the bits that you want to film if you want to save the battery, and it just makes it a lot more just user friendly, and it's off your mind. You don't have to worry about it. So they're the main bits of kit. I'm doing more videos now with better equipment. I've been working on 2 video projects where I'm doing more polished videos, where they're a little bit more it's not the live match stuff, and it's not really kind of education, this is how to fish a so-and-so feeder or whatever. It's a video just about a day fishing. It's about an approach, like I did on the QUARRY Bream video. It's like that, and that's with better equipment, better quality, and obviously with Final Cut Pro, which is the software that I now use. You know, it is as professional as you're going to get, as long as you learn how to use it, that is, and spend time using it. So that's what I've been up to this week. Well, I've just got in from work, and I've still got some more prep to do for Sunday's match as well, but I've just got a couple of quick questions that have come in today. One of them is very appropriate considering where I'm going on Saturday. Gloves. Someone's asked me about gloves. Do I ever use them? Why would I use them? When would I use them? Where would I use them? Basically, gloves, that sort of thing. I've probably shown you this one before, I think. This is the Nutty glug. It smells great. It's like a Snicker. Imagine if you left a Snicker on a radiator. Fantastic. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. Basically, gloves. The only time I use gloves is when I'm fishing. I mean, look how thick that is. When you're fishing places like Barston lakes, where you just want to. It's one of those things. I've talked about it before. Not so much on a video, more face to face with people on the bank. But some of the venues we're fishing, like Barston, you know, we're fishing more like specimen anglers. Simple as that, and that's because they get specimen fish. There's specimen type baits going in there, like the pellets and the boilies and all that sort of stuff. So a lot of the methods that we use now are basically what specimen carp anglers use. That's a prime example. And sometimes, you know, you might find out that the carp anglers and lads that have been doing really well there are catching fish on certain glugs and certain baits, and obviously us as match anglers are always looking for an edge, and we can physically, when they're shot bought kind of products like this, you can go out and get them for your match that's there, and hopefully that's going to give you an edge. And they're the things we're constantly learning of specimen anglers, and we're seeing it more and more on these commercial fisheries. I remember one of the first commercial fisheries I ever fished was Willow Park, which is down obviously Gold Valley, that sort of area, Aldershot, Farnborough should I say, is where I went for my first England trial, and I think that was about 91 or 92, something like that. And that was probably one of the first commercials, that one in Fleet's Dam up near where I live in Sheffield. And back then, a lot of the fisheries then, the carp used to get to a certain size of, say, I don't know, 6 or 8 pound, and they used to take them out, either sell them on or put them into a dedicated specimen lake. That just doesn't happen now, you know, and we're fishing places like, people have seen me fish at Larford and Barston, you're catching fish in excess of £20 plus, you know. So a lot of the methods we're adopting to try and gain an edge and win matches is by using things like this. So glugs, the answer to that question basically is, I only really consider using glugs when I'm going to that sort of a venue where I know it gets specimen fished, and you know, you're just trying to make your bait stand out, whether it's you're putting it on a method feeder or on a tea bag or a PVA bag. That's really the only time I use it. As a lot of you know, I fish kind of natural venues more often than commercials, so that doesn't really come into it. So hopefully that answers that question. The other question I was asked, I've been asked it before, but I mean, it's fine. I mean, there aren't that many options out there as regards types of feeders to use. Basically, would I, if I was given the choice of using an inline feeder or an elasticated feeder, method feeder that is, if I had the choice, I'd always go for an elasticated one. It's a very personal thing, I think, but I just think I hook a lot more fish with it, and you know, I've just always had a better response with it, with an elasticated feeder. There are pros and cons, as a lot of the top anglers out there will probably tell you. One of the reasons why some people don't like using an elasticated feeder is because when you're playing fish, you're not really feeling every lunge and every bump of the fish, and some people don't like that, you know, because obviously there's the length of elastic which is cushioning all that, so you're not completely in control of every single nod and bump. But on the flip side of that, that's why a lot of people like it, because you know, it's cushioning everything and they don't lose fish. On the other side of that, obviously with an inline feeder, you can feel everything, because the line's running through the centre of the feeder, you can feel every single bump. And another issue on that is, whenever some people fish at range, they're obviously having to fish with a heavy feeder, i.e. 50-60 gram or even heavier sometimes, method feeder. With an inline feeder, when it's sliding up and down the line, some people I know actually, whilst they're happy with the presentation out there of actually hooking fish, getting the feeder out there and all that sort of thing, when they're actually playing fish, especially when they get them near the net, if you can imagine, when a fish is lunging like that sharply, especially under the rod, just before you net it, you've got a feeder that's actually, it's physically bouncy, it's going up and down the line, and not a lot of anglers, but some of them don't like the fact, or you know, the fact that there's a 60 gram feeder bouncing up and down onto whatever you're using to attach your hook length. You know, they think it can bump fish off, so that's the reason why they don't use an inline feeder at range with a heavier feeder. But for me, if I had the choice, it would always be elasticated. Well, that's it for this week. I really apologise if I've raced through it a little bit. As you can tell, I've just got home from work, so I've just got a couple of hours of prep to do now just to get ready for the matches this weekend. There's loads more stuff coming. Fantastic feedback from everyone so far on the channel. Thanks for that. Like I say, you'll be the first, as subscribers, you'll be the first to know about all these little media projects that I've got going on that I'm kind of putting together around work and fishing. So that's it. So thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. It's Friday tomorrow. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. I know I'll see some of you on the bank, and hopefully in next week's Thursday vlog I'm going to be reporting to you a bit of success from this weekend, and news of a few projects that I've got coming up. So thanks for watching. Have a fantastic weekend, and I am off to practice drawing flyers. Just one on Saturday will do.